Hey all, just felt cool to share a short video, hopefully short. um, yes, trying to share your truth, be authentic, be a real person. When there's so much spiritual shite out there, and it's almost like the ego gets more and more inflated. The thing is with you, it's not good to overshare, but to actually share your truth, to be vulnerable, to be real, is a real thing. And some say it's not good to give everything away. Yes, it's good to have boundaries, good to respect yourself, good to, not put everything on the line. Unless it's for someone you love or something, something really important. But yeah, had some sort of health things going on lately that feels not the best. So, first time to the doctors for quite a while. Let's hope we can work with this energy and bring healing to it. But yeah, just I don't know. There's so much going on out there. I feel sorry for the people who've lost themselves. That's the thing I wanted to say, and I'm sure I've lost myself to certain degrees, but I've also found myself. Day to day is it's an effort to try and stay true in a world of interference, temptations, so many pulls on us, right? Every day, so many pulls on us for certain things and certain ways, other people, and trying to stay true in ourselves, because we can think we're reclaiming our power, but then we end up going the opposite way, and then we're like, in an unhealthy balance because we're trying to reclaim our power from having gone too far the other way. So there's a lot of that in the spiritual path as well. People who kind of have a beef because they're like upset at their parents still or something, or they're upset at the relationships that they've had, where they forget that they were a part of the relationship. They were an active influence in the energy. It takes two to tango. They don't just say it for no reason. Yes, it can predominantly be one person who's the main person, who's doing the wrong or doing the harm or whatever, but ultimately there's always more to the story. And that's the message of this, is that the story is often not seen. And when there are friendship splits, when there's relationship splits, lies are woven into our head, lies about the other person, because these stories have been mastered after generation after generation. We have the beings of light bringing in our higher timelines and helping us, remind us of who we are. We are the beings of light, but we're so full of generational trauma and so full of pain and wounds that the moment we buy into those wounds, we say, well, I wasn't treated fairly, so I deserve to, and that's where you let the shadow energy or the entity or the I'm not going to shut up talking about these things now, because I know what's going on the planet, and it's not, while it's not healthy to put too much energy onto it, that's talking about drama. That's talking about putting energy in a dramatic way onto something. We're not here to deny our shadow and deny our accountability and our wounds, but when you've accepted your accountability way too many times, and you've said, yes, I did do this, and yes, that really hurts me that I did this, and I do deeply apologise for this, and it's a wound that I've carried, no more punishment. Do you know what I mean? Because those who've done us wrong, if we continue to punish them beyond the point of where they have owned up and they have spoken that it hurts them about it, then all we're doing really is hurting ourselves by continually punishing other people. And punishment is in my past life, the punishment of whatever happened in this situation in the 1600s. A very dark time, very, very dark time, and we have to face the dark times now. And then we feel the joy and the light coming in. But me at the moment, the health is something's knocked it. Probably lack of sleep and different things with the baby But it's really deep, and life will push us into maturity, so we can swing one way. We think that we haven't been heard enough in our life, so we go out trying to be heard, or we feel that we haven't been liberated, or that we were suppressed, so we go out extra trying to be suppressed, trying to be expressed, the opposite, and go mental, crazy, trying to express ourselves, and that's okay, I suppose it's finding the balance. It's knowing that we can claim those parts of us that we lost, but ultimately we're trying to return to wholeness and balance, and the extremism in any way, whether that's suppression, whether that's ultra expression and being totally the opposite way, can be two parts of the same wound. So it's really important to face the wound. I think for me, the fact I know that these forces are working to destroy relationship, to destroy higher connections, that's not taking accountability. That's stating the fact of my reality, that it isn't just my shadow at play with my behaviors and my energy. We have to be accountable for what we're letting in, what we're choosing to let in and what we're aligning with, because we are sensitive beings, and not all of us are totally contained in our auric field, and we will feel things collectively. We will feel things beyond our own shadow, and I think that's the issue with humanity. We like to compartmentalize things and say, this is ours, this is theirs, but ultimately we're all in this together, and we do feel the feelings of our child does feel the feelings of us, we do feel the feelings of our partner, we do sometimes even channel the feelings of our partner, we have to take accountability for our part. For me it's been anger, violence, my inner violence, my anger at things, and because it was so suppressed. But mine is small, mine is like this. If you were hung and you were tortured, which I wasn't, well, I don't think it was me anyway, but someone was, if you were hung and you were tortured and humiliated, or burnt at the stake, as some women have had as their past lives, that's nothing compared to what we've gone through in this life. Yes, we've had difficult things, but sometimes the wounds that we carry, the reason we're so reactive is because those wounds are from past lives, or we are carrying entity attachments for whatever reason are there, and they carry those wounds as well. And the moment we realize that, we can stop being confused and stop owning stuff that isn't ours, because as much as it's important to take responsibility for what is ours and not take accountability, yes, we have to, and we can't be in any denial. Like I said about extremes, the other extreme is also possible as well, where we take responsibility for things that are not ours, and that is exactly what the entities and the lower astral forms want us to do. They want us to take responsibility for what is not ours and act out their unprocessed wounds. And when we start doing that, we are not doing our deeper work. And that's why we've got to be very careful when we're doing shadow work, to know that we are not just continually replaying and reopening up in an unhealthy way. It's okay to open up our wounds, but open up in an unhealthy way a wound that isn't ours, and it's up to you whether you are here to process the wounds from your ancestors, or whether you decide that they're not for you to process. For me, I've learnt that whatever this past life energy is of extreme anger and pain and humiliation, that I have to process. I have to, or at least acknowledge this, because this energy will not go away until it is seen. And that is why we're doing such deep shadow work, and we're seeing so much violence in the world, because violence is an energy that we need to face as a human race. So I will not be quiet about this. I will not be silenced. No one is against me. The energies who do this, ultimately their higher selves want the best for us as well, but they are very wounded. And there is a galactic war going on. And that's the fact. And anyone you have had deep connection and love with, who we've been turned against, this is interference. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves from people, and we do have to cut off, but there should be resolution, there should be able to be love. And the reason there's no resolution is because that energy, that trauma that you've gone through with someone has been hijacked to keep it stuck with no resolution. And this is a time for resolution. This is a time for us to resolve things. Sometimes we can't, because when we do connect with the person that the wound is with, it keeps opening it up, and either you or they or both of you become out of control through the wounding. You know, in you become non neutral. You know, you become, and for that we sometimes have to protect ourselves. And from protecting yourself can make other people think you're a narcissist, or that you're stonewalling them, or that you're blocking them. On one side, someone can be doing that, but on the other side, we have to think clearly, because is what we think about the other people really, really true? What we think about other people, you know, are they really ignoring us? Are they scared? Do you know what I mean? So when we're in trauma and when we're being infected and affected by lower astral forces, we don't see clearly. We are playing a program out, and it's time to stop playing programs now, because we're not helping the life forms that are stuck as well. You know, we're not helping them evolve when they keep us locked in shadow wounds, because it's us who's being turned against us. You know, it's us being turned against us. So you know, I know that I'm going to leave this world at some point, and I hope it's not soon. I don't think it is, because I've been told that by the doctors that it should be all right. But if I do, it doesn't really matter. But it does, obviously, because I don't want to leave my family and now my little child. I think it'll be all right. But the point of my message is that we don't see clearly. We see a small bit of something in someone. We see a bit of ego. We see a bit of a bit of lack of care. We see a certain aspect in someone, and then we blow it out of proportion. That's what people do when they're in trauma. And this is a time for people to see each other clearly, because ultimately, whether it's now, whether it's when we die, we're going to have to make peace with what's happened. We need to be able to make peace. And I'm pretty much clear with nearly everybody. You know, even a couple of people in my life who were not happy, who still had a wound about me, have come and they said they're sorry, and I've said I'm sorry, and they have actually said good things again. So, you know, and we don't have to heal our wounds with someone. We can say that's it, never. You know, we don't have to do that ever, but we do have to heal the wound inside, don't we? We have to come to peace inside, so that things don't eat us up, because I can guarantee you, most people who've gone through a difficult relationship and left, there's been something, that's the seed that's been left in there. If you're not strong with it, then you will carry that seed. One of mine with a particular person was feeling that the feeling of not enough. What is something like that? Anyway, I realised that I was in this loop after the relationship, and I had to clear that in order to break free again. That I got caught in something, you know, that I needed to let go of. But yeah, we've moved into autumn here in England now, and I feel the changes coming on, and more every day, more and more. It's like the need for clarity, like real kind of like laser, like we know what we want, we know what we need, and we know we need it because it's important for us and it's important for whatever our work is. Big revelation lately has been about music and what is a projection and a childhood absorbing of that. It's not good to be in your ego, you know, blah 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 and all that stuff. But then recognizing recently that, wow, this is my heart's sharing, and I love to share with people. I love to hear their story. You know, when they're coming up to me and they're saying, wow,